me get a shot at her. All right, this is Sport for Real. Yesterday I came on and I had a pretty good little flow going there, and then all of a sudden my signal dropped out, and I can't figure out why that was happening, and I don't know if it's because my phone is older or what the case is, but I ended up having to go out and get Wi-Fi for the vehicle, and ever since I did that, I ain't had any problems. So I'm hoping that now that we have Wi-Fi, I can pretty much sign on anywhere, and I shouldn't have the same issue that I had yesterday. It's actually a pretty decent audience we had. We were talking good NBA stuff, and that happened, you know. But you have to overcome such things when you're doing a mobile broadcast. So just to kind of piggyback on what I'm talking about today. Today we have Game 6 with the Thunder going into Indiana to try to end it all. The Pacers, they kind of limping in, even though they're home. They got the home court tonight, but they're not at full speed. Their point guard, Haliburton, he's said to have a calf strain, and the question is, will he play? He's going in the injury report as questionable, but I'm telling you right now, if he truly has a calf strain, there's no way he's going to be able to play on that calf strain. I'll just give you a little backstory. I know I don't look like it, the face all puffed up right now. Ever since I started ride sharing about 8 years ago, that kind of cut into my running time. But I've had weeks, 25, 30 miles running a week. No big thing to me. I know that's not elite level like the marathoners. A lot of them run 100 miles a week. But 25, 30 miles a week for somebody that's not entered into an event, having meets to run for, that's pretty decent. Well, after a while, all that pounding, especially if you're a little overweight like me, I'm never going to give up my cookies and candies and whatever. Still eat like a kid in a lot of ways. But I would control that by running. So when you stop running, that's when you start to gain a little weight. And that's pretty much what happened to me. But when you're doing all that pounding and you just a little bit overweight, what tends to happen is, you know, you get these little stressing injuries. And that kind of go along with age too. And I ran across the bridge one day, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm running pretty good, and next thing I know, pop. What was that? I didn't know what that was, but I felt pretty good. No, I wasn't running the bridge. I was on the UNF track. I used to run at night. If you know anything about UNF, they have a nice little track stadium now with the regulation NCAA track, and on the back of that, they have a warm-up track. Well, years ago when this happened, it was just that warm-up track there. Well, it wasn't like it is now. But I felt good. I thought I walked maybe 15, 20 yards. I didn't feel any pain. Tried to run again. Nope, wouldn't let me. Well, I didn't know what that was, but I found out years later that I had a calf strain. And I know from experience that once you get a calf strain, you're on the shelf for about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe. If you're lucky, 3 weeks. Even with all the top-notch NBA care, if you recall Kevin Garnett, a few years back, he got a calf strain during the playoffs. Thought he was going to be able to play. Nope, he was done. And that's just what calf strains do to you. So if Haliburton truly has that calf strain, don't expect him to be playing tonight. Even as bad as the Pacers need him, he'd be better off on the bench, which leads to the problem that they have. The problem that was created was when T.J. McConnell came in. He's like a little spark plug. I like the way he plays. He plays well coming off the bench. He's a nice change of pace. Get you a few points, maybe get you a few steals. He's very active. But he came in the other night in Game 6, and he hit about 10, 12 points, and he led the bench scoring. They had outscored the OKC bench like 20 points in that third quarter. And that led many people to believe that maybe he should have stayed out there longer instead of coming back with Haliburton. Well, to a certain extent, I agree with that. If the guy was hot, ride him until he's not hot anymore. And you know that Haliburton was hobbling. Why not let him rest up a little bit? But the problem that the Pacers now have is they're going to have to go with McConnell. And you're going to find out, if you don't already know, the difference between a starter and a bench player. If you come in off the bench and you come up with a change of pace, they're not really preparing for you. They know you're there, but they're not really focusing to stop you like they would a Haliburton. But now that you're coming in as a starter, OKC has to know about these calf strains, and because of the calf strain, they know that McConnell is going to be playing more. So they're going to be geared towards stopping McConnell. And you're going to see the difference as to why McConnell is a player that comes off the bench as opposed to starting. He's not ready to start yet. Now, in the rare cases, some guys come off the bench and they never return to the bench because they take full advantage of that opportunity. And maybe McConnell can do that, but I just don't see it happening. I think the crowd is going to get into the game early, and you're going to have the Pacers all wired up, and it's going to be a game for about a quarter and a half. But once that monkey jump on McConnell's back and OKC take a 9-10 point lead, then it's going to get ugly at that point, because you know how these weak-minded NBA players are. They're already down to the last game. They can't lose anymore. And they get behind, and you're at home, and everything's supposed to be going your way. Next thing you know, a close game turns into a rout. Hope that's not the case, but I don't have much confidence in the heart of an NBA player. JC, how you doing, man? I know I saw you on yesterday. I don't know how long you stayed on, but I lost my signal, and it just bottomed out on me, and I couldn't get it back for like an hour. But I got it solved today. I went and put Wi-Fi in the vehicle, so when I get in remote areas like this, I won't have much of an issue. But I'm just making the point that McConnell, he is not a starter, but if he really wants to raise his profile, if he does start tonight, he can become a starter type player if he plays well and leads his team to victory. But if Haliburton, like I said, if he has a calf strain, there's no way that he's going to be able to play in tonight's game. I don't care how much they think they want him. He's better off on the bench, because he couldn't run fast as me right now, and I hadn't run a mile in years. So we'll see how that goes. Here the AKM was 40 pounds of ammo. All right. I don't know what this guy is talking about. But we got something for him. Get rid of him real quick. All right. So JC says, OK should win the championship tonight. Okay, I was getting to that, JC. But a little backstory. You know, when they have these finals or a championship at any level on the national stage, they have the gear ready for when the team wins the championship. But they don't just print one version. They print the version for both teams. And that way they have it covered. So if you think OKC is going to win a championship and you go and print up all this OKC stuff and Indiana wins, then if you're not prepared, you're going to get caught. Now, I believe that happened years ago, but that doesn't happen that way now, because they print up championship shirts for both teams. So whoever wins, it just roll out the winning side. Now, that leads me to a little quick ride share story. About a week ago, I was out riding by Jacksonville Beach, and I picked up this fella, just happens to be a Jaguar fan, by way of Ohio. Long story on that one, but he gets to telling me that he works in a warehouse, and they deal with gear. Say like when the NBA finals are decided, the team that loses, they're going to wind up with that gear and end up shipping it overseas. So you may see some videos of somebody from an overseas country, and they will have on gear from America that says this team is a world champion when they didn't win the championship. So what happens is they take the losing team stuff and they ship it overseas. And that's what happens to all the gear that they print up for the team that doesn't actually win the championship. And this guy that I dealt with, met doing rideshare, his name was Norman, and he's a Jaguar fan. We won't hold that against him, but Jaguars actually got a chance to do something this year. But I don't think, I think the biggest problem is the quarterback. He's got no more excuses, and if he falls on his face this year, then you'll see just what I'm telling you now. The quarterback is the issue with Jacksonville. But anyway, he tells me that he works with the companies that deal with shipping that stuff overseas. So that turned out to be a pretty good conversation. But I had to holler at him. I told him I would. So I'm gonna holler at him right now by calling him out. Norman, come on over to the Steelers, man, because we're gonna have to go to the Super Bowl. We let you guys go every 5-6 years because we can't go every year. Nobody will watch at that point. So come on back this year. We got our quarterback. It'll be a good time for you to drop the Jaguars. Only thing you have to do is put some tape over that teal, change the logo. You already got the same colors, man. Black and gold. You straight. So come on over, Norman. I know you're listening. But yeah, he's the kind of guy that he works in the place where they take that gear and they ship it overseas. A lot of stuff that Americans discard, like in Goodwill and places like that, they tend to end up overseas, and a lot of them end up washed up on the Atlantic coast, and it's just there. I mean, good clothes, some of it's brand new, never gets distributed, just ends up on the edge of the ocean somewhere. And it's kind of sad how things work, but that's generally how it is. But it's not just clothes, you also have your cell phones. So I would suggest, being with the capability of people to extract information from phones, when you go get yourself a new phone, don't turn it back in. Keep the one that you have and destroy it or do what you want to do with it. Because if you turn it in, it's going to end up in a foreign country, and it's going to end up somewhere where somebody knows how to use that phone and extract your information from it. And that's happening to a lot of people, where they're finding out people are compromising the information and it's coming from overseas. So the best way to stop that is to do like I do. When I get a new phone, I don't turn it in, I keep it. All right, so having said all of that, I'm saying to you that I expect the coronation tonight of OKC as the champion. A lot of you novices think that this is going to be the first championship for the franchise. It is not. It will be the first championship for a team with the name OKC, but the franchise itself, they were actually the Seattle Supersonics, and they went to the finals 2 years in a row. They went 77, 78, and they came back in 78, 79 season, where they actually won it that year. And that is the only championship that the Supersonics got. They've been to the finals another time. They lost to the Bulls in 96. So this is the fifth trip for the Supersonics, the second as the OKC. And this would be the second championship in franchise history, but the first with the name OKC. All right. No, JC, I'm not joking, man. It's like this, man. You have to reel the suckers in, man. So Pittsburgh has to beat around the bush and let some other teams win sometimes, man. All we need was a quarterback. We play decent defense. All we got to do is be able to run the football. Pittsburgh's biggest problem is stopping other teams when they have to. Baltimore is the biggest threat of stopping. They have to stop that run. They have to hit that building before it gets started. And by that I mean Derrick Henry. He's a moving building. And you got to hit him before it gets started. But once that thing starts rolling downhill, you got a problem. But I'm only half joking. But a lot of people think that Aaron Rodgers is done. Well, he threw for like 3,800 yards last year with the Jets. And if you throw for 3,800 with the Jets, you transfer that same 3,800 to Pittsburgh, it's the equivalent of throwing for like 52. So if he comes and produces like that, Pittsburgh is going to be somebody you're going to have to deal with. And it don't take but a couple plays here and there, they're going to be okay. Now, I am talking on the radio about the secondary improvements of the Ravens, but I don't think that's the Ravens' problem. I think the Ravens, they got a problem executing when it counts the most. And not just last year, not the year before, a couple years before that. Just look back over the history of what the Ravens have done under Harbaugh. They don't get it done when it counts the most. So that secondary, they looking at them because they got some former first rounders on there, and like that's supposed to make a difference. But if you're not playing at a first round level, who gives a damn about when you were drafted? Nobody cares about that. So they're going to be tough to deal with, and like always, they're going to be what I call a regular season Ravens. They're going to get the fan base excited, and it's going to look like they're going to do something, but when it counts the most, they're going to fall on their face. Write that down in stone. The Ravens will fall on their face in the playoffs like they always have. Write it down. So, yeah, I'm half joking, but at the same time, I'm half serious, JC. I don't see them getting past KC. We don't see Kansas City. And like I just told you, we don't see Baltimore. But Kansas City, they've been exposed. I'll put it this way, I wouldn't say they've been exposed. Football is always going to be football. You cannot say just because everybody's playing a certain way, this is how everybody should play. No, it's the old idea of football that still wins games. By that I mean, you get some guys rushing that quarterback and put pressure on him and get him off his marks, then it's going to be difficult for the offense to score. Now, what makes it easier for certain teams like a Baltimore or a Philadelphia is when you have a running quarterback. If you allow their running game, traditional running game, to get going, then that opens the door for the quarterback to get his yards on the outside. So the first thing you have to do with these modern teams is stop the run. If you see what Philadelphia did, they put pressure right up the middle, them defensive tackles, and they put Mahomes on his back. And if I live 1,000 years, come back, reincarnate, and live 1,000 more, one thing will always be true. You will never meet a quarterback that can throw on his back. And Patrick Mahomes, as strong as his arms is, he can throw it to the top of the stadium, standing up. But put pressure on him like the Eagles did and see what happened to him. You're going to have to come get him, because if they hit him too much, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to come get him. So if you stop the run, it starts up front with those inside rush people, those defensive tackles. Push that pocket when he has to throw, stop that run when he comes through there, and then you stop a team like Kansas City. Baltimore, you have to stop Henry between the tackles. Then when Lamar pulls it and comes around the corner, you keep him inside and you hit him. It's like wing T defensive principles. You can't let him get outside. You got to seal that inside up. So it's not like Kansas City can't be beat. We saw that how that worked. The thing is corralling those running quarterbacks. If you can stop those quarterbacks from running to the outside and slow that running game in the tackle, and you force a guy like Jackson to stand in the pocket and have to throw it, I think the odds just shifted to your favor. Now, Mahomes, on the other hand, he just needs time to throw. If you don't have time to throw, then he can't really kill you. But if you stop his running game and can't get to the quarterback, then it don't make no difference because he's going to kill you. So Pittsburgh can beat any of these teams, especially with a quarterback like Rodgers. He's got the knowledge. All he needs is the time to get the throw off, and he's going to cause teams some problems. Whether it's however many games he plays, Pittsburgh just got to keep him standing up. All right, now, Lily says hi. I don't see any other votes. So, but the question is, I don't want to get off on football too much. Will Haliburton play tonight? And most of you are saying yes. And I'm telling you, if he's got a calf strain, it's 100% no. Based on experience that I have, I've had several calf strains, and that's probably the most serious injury I ever had. Now, not that I never really haven't really been hurt, but I've put hamstrings before, and I know if you get one of those hamstring sleeves and you get some treatment, you get out and play on that. But even with the calf strain, I don't think you can shoot it up. If you shoot up a calf strain and go out there and play and don't feel anything, I think you're going to be messed up for months after that. So I don't even think I don't even think they will even take the chance to shoot up a calf string. But based on my experience and the way that thing feels, you can walk just fine. But when it comes to running, you forget about it. So if Haliburton plays tonight, either he's been bluffing or he didn't really have a calf strain. But if he truly has a calf strain, he's not going to play tonight. So you can take that to the bank. But anyway, I expect OKC to win this game tonight, and it's going to end in Game 6. And Gilgeous is going to get the MVP of the series. And OKC is just right now just a better team than Indiana. And a lot of people want to say, well, if Haliburton and got hurt, it'd been a different story. No, I don't think so. I think it just took OKC a while to figure out that this team here, if you don't beat them, you're going to get beat. And once they figured that out, made a few adjustments, Williams finally started showing up to play on a consistent basis, then OKC started to look like OKC. But if Williams, he probably won't score 40 tonight. He'll probably go for about 15. He's not that consistent either. But if he's able to get 20 plus, then the Pacers don't have much of a chance. I don't think if Haliburton doesn't play, they don't have a chance anyway. McConnell has a chance to make a name for himself, but his fitness ain't the greatest either. So I think after about a quarter and a half, you'll see wherever that game is at that point. If OKC starts to separate at that point, then it just might turn into a blowout, man. I hope that doesn't happen. I hate to see a championship turn on an injury, but you're not going to hear any complaints coming out of Boston because with Tatum, we might not even be talking about the Pacers. We'll still be on the Celtics over here. But it was time for somebody else anyway. Celtics been there the last couple of years. It's time for somebody else to step up to the stage. But just to go back to old JC, say Pittsburgh can't beat Kansas City or Baltimore, I beg to differ. It's only about this much difference between the top and bottom teams in the NFL, and a quarterback makes a difference. A quarterback at some point is going to have to stand in there and throw it. I don't care if you run a 3.5 40, or you can throw lasers with no pressure on you at 80 miles an hour. That don't mean a thing if you can't do it when it counts the most. And that's Baltimore's problem. They can't seem to do it when it counts the most. They're getting better at it, but you don't have but so much of a window to try to get it done. And that window to me is getting smaller. I don't care what kind of additions they make. If you can't stand there and throw it when you have to, then you're not going very far. Kansas City can't football, we know that. But like I said, you can live 1,000 years and you'll never see a quarterback who can throw off his back. And Mahomes can't do it. Montana couldn't do it. Hell, going all the way back to the 50s and 60s, Y.A. Tittle couldn't do it. So in 2095, whatever his name is, he won't be able to do it either. So if you got a running game and you play action pass with what Pittsburgh's going to have to do with a quarterback like Rodgers, they'll never go 4 or 5 wide with him, but hell, if you got a quick passing game, you can do that too. If they keep the man standing up, Pittsburgh is going to be a serious threat in the AFC. Cincinnati, they're too cheap to pay the defensive players, so all they're going to be able to do is score, but you know they can't score every time. And because you can't score every time, if a team is chewing up the clock like a Pittsburgh, you're going to beat them. It's going to be hard to do, man, because Pittsburgh 25, 30 points a game, and they can score 30 points a game. Yeah, you might well mail that trophy on now, because we don't even see Baltimore and Kansas City. We like to see them. But anyway, tonight OKC should cut down the nets. And the point I was making earlier, I met the guy Norman from over by Jacksonville Beach, and he just happens to be working with a company that deals with gear from the losing team. So if OKC does win, they'll have the OKC gear ready, and the prepared Indiana stuff, they'll ship that overseas somewhere, and it's going to go through companies like what Norman does. So it's kind of interesting how things work. But to save face, they just print up both teams anyway. Don't really cost them nothing. End up overseas, they make something back on it. No harm, no foul. So But that's all I had to say today. Um, I expect OKC to cut the nets down. McConnell, big difference between a starter and a bench player. He's going to play much better coming off the bench. But leading the team from the starting position, I don't think he's going to do it. Nimrod and Neesmith going to have to step up. And just looking at that look in the eyes, ever since the fourth quarter of game number 4, Indiana just hadn't been there. And it's almost like they realized they're in a championship. And what do we do now? I call it the TCU effect. You know, if you remember TCU when they got slaughtered by Georgia, that team TCU was worthy to be there. They should have been there. They earned their way there. But when they got there, then they realized, hey, we're in the national championship. Are we really supposed to be here? How big is that, man? And next thing you know, you could tell they just felt the game was over before it even started, man. And I think the Pacers realized when they had that lead in the fourth quarter, they had a chance to seize control of the series right then and there. And then reality struck. We're in a championship. We got a chance to win it. Are we really going to win this thing? Do we really deserve to win this thing? They started to ask themselves questions, and the real OKC stepped up at the same time. And going into game 5, it just continued. And I think if Indiana cannot remain competitive in that first half, it's just going to turn into a blowout. And like I said before, either when you upset your way into a championship position, either you're going to continue to do what you did to get you there, or midnight is going to strike. And I think midnight is fast approaching for the Pacers. They're going to have to show us something. But Haliburton, he got a calf strain. He ain't playing tonight. Trust me. But anyway, I hope you guys like and subscribe, and try to get on tomorrow again about 7:30, and hopefully I have a better signal for you. I'll find me a different spot because it keeps dropping out on me after about 30 minutes. So I'll take care of that. But anyway, wherever you are in the world, have a great day. If there's breaking news in sports, we'll come on and rap about it this afternoon. But in the meantime, get ready for that game 6 tonight. And OKC/Seattle, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be champions again. All right, this is Sports for Real, so I'm out. Let me check this poll one more time. You guys expecting Haliburton to play, but he's not. All right. Keep an eye on them Steelers, man.